Welcome to another episode of The Bastard Sermon. This is one of your three hosts, Cody Hucker.
Patrick Seta.
And Luke Young.
Today, we've got on the wonderful local comedian, Jay Armstrong. Give it up, boys!
Yes!
Woo!
Thank God.
Thank you for joining us today, Jay. Hey, listeners, if you guys want to check him out, visit one of his 3 active or inactive Facebook accounts that you might...
I have 2 that have my name on them, and then a third that's a fan page, and then multiple troll accounts.
And there's no way to know which one you're going to get zucked on next because...
I always get zucked on my main.
Is it really?
It's always the main, which I'm like a half step from just getting perma-banned.
Really? How do you get perma-banned?
Yeah, how are you getting banned in the first place? Are you sharing like videos, or is it just some crazy your thoughts?
Well, I think the algorithm got me, okay, so the second to the last time. So out of the last 60 days, I had 18 hours active on my main account.
Right.
So the first 30-day ban that I caught was from a meme that I shared where Jesus is coming for payback, which it had, I don't know, an offensive joke involved in it. But from like 2015. So I'm guessing that enough people reported that picture that it became part of the algorithm, and they just auto-zucked me.
That's fucking dumb, though. So then everybody gets auto-zucked that's part of that? I don't understand this. They should explain it to people so that they know what not to do. So that they're...
Well, I mean, they explain the community standards. But just because you got away with it in 2015 doesn't mean that you get away with it forever.
That's true, but the guidelines are always so loose that you never... Because they could justify anything.
Loose. You can make fun of Christians, you can make fun of white people, and you can make fun of men all you want.
So weird,
but
isn't
go
it?
over those lines and you're fucked?
Yeah, I mean, if you say something out of those... I mean, even if... I've had black friends get zucked for saying stuff that Facebook considered racist against black people.
What? How? Like, did you have an example?
I'm not going to say it.
Did they go super fucking deep?
It's not like Roseanne deep.
It wasn't even that deep, but...
Just enough to where you don't want to be recorded saying it on a podcast?
Right, exactly. So I do 700 WLW every Tuesday, and on election night, Bill Cunningham was with Gary Jeff Walker and I don't know if you've ever met that dude.
Never.
But he's a little guy, but he's the most intimidating motherfucker I have ever met. Dude, he's just so intense. But he's speaking in someone else's voice, and he's like, I'm a scumbag, I'm a cheat, I'm a liar. And then... we had the producer clip that, and we just kept playing it over and over and over again. So that's why I won't even repeat super fucked up shit
because
being recorded, because you can just snip it out.
Nice chunky little soundbite.
And completely out of context, it makes it sound like I'm the one saying that.
Played for the rest of your career forever. Like, just follows you.
End the career quickly.
Like a ghost.
Oh, God.
Do you have some of that shit in your past already where you're just like, have you tried to scrub previous shit? Like,
I had to scrub my Twitter completely.
What? Really?
Kind of shit were you saying on Twitter?
Well, I was talking a lot of shit to Mike Tyson.
Why were you talking shit to Mike Tyson?
Well, not really to him, about him.
Okay.
I didn't say anything that was untrue. But
call him a rapist and shit.
Wow. Exactly. Well, there's a cartoon called Mike Tyson's Mysteries, which I think is fantastic. But I feel kind of guilty watching it because the dude is a convicted rapist. You know what I mean? It's not like allegations. Like, the dude's convicted.
Yeah.
So I had tweeted multiple times that Mike Tyson's Mysteries is my favorite cartoon that's ever been on television where the lead character is a convicted rapist, right? I thought it was funny.
Which, by the way, weirdest rape case ever. He got convicted of rape by forcibly holding a woman down and eating her pussy. Like, the only dude that's ever been convicted of rape for forcibly eating pussy.
It's still sexual assault for sure,
I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying it's bad.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out if you were
Don't fucking misconstrue my words.
I mean, that's
here,
a legit rightful conviction.
100%.
It's kind of fucked up if you think about it. It's pretty fucked up, dude.
Pussy, dude.
I mean, look what he did to Evander Holyfield's ear. Imagine what he did to her poor little pussy.
My God. It's probably torn the fuck
Bit her
up.
clit off and tore it to pieces. Just ripped it off like a pop can tab.
He turned into one of his tigers.
He converted to Islam and did a female circumcision with his mouth.
Jesus.
Oh, that's the line. That's the fucking line.
There's no line. There's no line.
But so I get a message on my Facebook fan page, and it's a dude claiming to be Mike Tyson's personal assistant, and I'm just like, what the? No fucking way.
And you're just over here
well, he wants to hire me to do this recovery charity gig, right? And he puts a cell phone number and a regular email address in this message. So immediately I think I'm just being fucking trolled because all my friends are assholes.
Right.
And, my friend, I guess is more accurate. But so I go to the domain name on the email account, and it's Mike Tyson's Cannabis Farm. It's TysonRanch.com. And I'm like, well, that checks out. And
That is his thing too. He's doing the wellness ranch. He was talking about on a road.
Well, he's trying to do a recovery thing too, and I think a lot of the cannabis companies are doing that in the same way that a lot of beer companies donate a ton of money to alcoholism charities.
Right.
So I Google the phone number, like try to do a reverse search on it, and it's an Anaheim, California number. So like that checks out. So and I'm like, how could this fucking guy find me? You know what I mean? And
were you tagging Mike Tyson and all that shit? Like putting at Mike Tyson?
I bet you were. I bet you were.
You're
ballsy.
Yeah, no, for sure.
At Mike Tyson's Mysteries.
I'm not a bitch.
But so here's the way he worded the email.
Have you ever seen him get called out for being a rapist on TV and him almost fight a dude?
No.
Wait, didn't it? Was that yeah, that was crazy. He was being interviewed on TV,
okay,
right?
so this is what I got.
Tell the end of your story.
I'm Mike Tyson's personal assistant, and he asked me to reach out to you in regards of a comedy show he's putting together for his recovery charity in Anaheim, California. Blah blah blah. Are you available and have any?
He tried to recruit you after the shit you said.
Well, apparently, I mean, do you think Mike Tyson has time to go through all those tweets? You know what I mean? He's not Tom Segura. Tom Segura looks at that shit immediately.
Yeah,
like, he searches himself religiously. And you don't even have to tag Tom. You say his name, say something negative, he will respond. But so Russell Peters...
from experience.
I got him and Ralphie May into an argument.
What?
Yeah, dude.
Were you pretending to be Ralphie May?
Yeah, I'll finish this one and we'll go to that one. Personally, I'm very passionate about this project because I'm recovering addict. It's been sober from heroin for 4.5 years. Here's my phone number and email address if you'd like to be a part of it. We'll obviously cover your expenses, travel, and you'll get to spend some time with Mike. So I'm like, how could they have possibly found me? And so I work through an agency for the recovery gigs that I do, the AA and NA conventions and stuff. So I'm like, well, maybe they found me through that. And so I call the guy that books that, and I'm like, hey, man, I just got the weirdest email. He's like, is it from fucking Mike Tyson? And I was like, yeah, dude, it is. And so I started trying to go back through my Twitter because at that moment is when I realized I had said some unfavorable things about Mr. Tyson. And so...
Why you say that, man?
Well,
Comes up to you and says that.
because it's fucking true, that's why. But... So I start trying to go back through it, and I'm like, well, fuck, man, there's no way I can go through all of this. You know what I mean? There's something
How much shit did you talk?
Well, there was like 15,000 tweets to search through. Ooh. You know what I mean? You can't just search your own Twitter for specific things. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to delete the whole thing. I just removed my entire account because the scariest thing in the world to me would be to be at that gig and hear from behind, like, I thought your tweets.
Why you say that?
Yeah. Joe, you want to see what he does when he gets called out for being a rapist?
Absolutely.
There's a fucking interview. I want to go back to that story about Tom Segura and shit.
He would kill you in one punch.
Okay, so
he would do that.
Here's the setup. He's on live television. They're doing a whole interview with this fucking dude, and he's sitting down answering questions, smiling and happy, and this dude just popped. Well, I'll just play it. But the dude
would say, there's a race for mayor. We know you're a convicted rapist. Now, some of your critics would say, there's a race.
Look at his face. He's like, is this real?
That's murder eyes right there, dude.
No, he doesn't know what's about to happen because he's like talking about how Mike Tyson's running for mayor somewhere. That's why he's saying like. So some of your critics would say,
we know you're a convicted rapist. This could hurt his campaign. How would you respond to that?
Hey, I don't know who said that. You're the only one I heard say that. You know what I mean? And I don't have no comment to that. Because it's negative, and you're being negative, and I met the mayor,
right.
And nothing they can do about it.
We actually had a really good time. We talked about George Trevallo.
Wait for it.
Legend in your city, great man with whom Mike spent quite a bit of time yesterday talking about his life, highs and lows.
So interesting because you come across like a nice guy, but you're really a piece of shit.
Hey,
come on, that was a piece of fuck you. That was a piece of shit.
We're doing live TV.
Hey, I don't care. What are you gonna do about it?
All right.
Oh my god. A lot of people. Dude, this guy is flop sweating and his butthole is sealing up. He's looking over at security like he's Mike fucking Tyson. We don't have security in the building that can take that.
Now you're going to have to shoot that man.
And he's still going to keep coming at you. Yeah. Probably all the cocaine that's been in his system probably made him immune to bullets.
His hands, I'm sure, are certified weapons.
Look at him just trying to hold it together while he's sweating.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Let's see the end, though.
We are. Where it comes raw and it's the real truth. Yeah, a lot of people will be there to see your show. Just tell us a bit about it.
Sweating.
Gold.
It speaks for itself. Everyone saw the show.
All right. It's a Broadway production. It went to Vegas. It went to actually 28 cities in the United States. and we're really,
This
really
dude wants to
proud
see him
bring
get
it here.
fucking
We're actually going
teeth
to
knocked
Monaco
out.
on October 9th. We're going to be in Monte Carlo.
He wants to
Is
beat
it nerve-wracking
his
for you to
ass.
do something like this, or is it more nervous for you to box? How does it compare?
I don't know. It's more nerve-wracking for me to hear us talking to a rat piece of shit like you.
Come on.
Not because you're a piece of shit.
All right.
You really didn't have to
We're
say
gonna
you're a piece of shit.
we're gonna wrap up this interview. Thank you for coming.
Now imagine if he wasn't on live TV and then he came up behind you and said that shit about your tweets and then just stared you down
Oh
and
my
there's
God.
no camera on you. There's no one fucking
like, come
making
over
sure that
here.
you're safe.
But
There's nothing.
So whatever happened, though?
Scary as
Did you
fuck.
pursue it? At
I
all?
ended up getting bumped off the show for Russell Peters.
Oh,
okay.
really?
I mean, he's like the most famous
I was about to
comic
say
in the
like,
world.
were you even
So,
mad like he's the biggest?
I
draw?
wasn't. I wanted the story. It didn't pay well. It didn't pay hardly anything. But the story is all that I wanted out of it.
I thought
but
those
I mean,
corporate gigs were insane money like every time.
it's a charity gig though.
Oh,
They wanted me to do it for free, but
It's worth the money, dude.
it's worth the story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I got to hang out with my regardless of whether I got to do it or not, Mike Tyson still contacted me because he wanted to hire me to do stand-up.
right.
That's still pretty fucking cool,
fucking
though.
Yeah,
awesome.
right? But they said they're going to do it every year and that they're going to have me come back next year. What is funny, though, is they didn't take me off the flyer. So every time they would share the flyer, Facebook would recognize my
Ah, that's
headshot
awesome.
and be like, hey, do you want to tag yourself in this photo? Hey, Facebook, do you want to go fuck yourself? I already lost the gig. You know what I mean?
It's still pretty cool that your name was on it.
Yeah.
You know?
Kind of.
Attached to it
I'm
anyway.
sure at some point someone saw the name and absolutely looked
Yeah.
it up.
You
whether
still got
you-
that
you-
People
story
would be
out
like,
of it.
"Who's this guy?"
Yeah,
and
yeah.
especially if you didn't show up, they'd be like, "Where was that one guy that
It's,
shit?"
it's promotion, but it's wrong
Yeah.
promotion, but it's still promotion.
Yeah, so
What's-
the Tom Segura story is
Yes.
this. Ralphie May was a huge Pittsburgh Steelers fan.
Rest in peace, Ralphie May, an amazing comic.
He only stole a bunch of bits, but that's okay.
But so
Really? I didn't.
Yeah, it's okay. Stanhope calls him out on it all the time. Sorry, keep going.
he
Jay.
he had tweeted something one day. Twitter is always what gets me in trouble with celebrities. But he had tweeted something one day about the Steelers, and he worded it fucked up and made it sound like he hated them. And I was like, dude, if you hate the Steelers, you just became my favorite comic. And he was like, sorry, fam, been a fan since 1977 or some shit like that. And I was like, oh, I guess Tom Segura is my favorite comic still then. And he said, that's fine, Jay. Have a feature act as your favorite comic.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
Okay,
Oh, shit.
Tom's not tagged.
A feature act
Like,
for people
it's
that
ju-
don't know is the one under the
middle,
headliner.
yeah.
It's the guy that goes on after.
It's the guy that's a true opener. A host is technically not an opener.
Right.
But so Tom's not tagged. You know what I mean? He had to have searched his name. And because Ralphie didn't say his name, I'm the one that said his name. Tom doesn't follow me. He might have followed Ralphie at the time.
So it had nothing to do with you like shitting on like Ralphie and saying like, "Oh, Tom Segura's my favorite comedian." Still, like
It was just
he
me shitting
saw-
on the Steelers, and Ralphie knew it.
Right.
And he was just being a smartass. He wasn't really trying to take a hard shot at Tom. But Tom jumps in like, you better check my schedule, motherfucker.
Yes.
But he didn't even tag him or anything.
No,
and he just
nobody
wrote
was
out
tagged.
Tom Segura and
I
found his shit.
wrote it out, which means that Tom had to have been searching his name like continuously throughout that day.
I feel like he would.
Yeah, he's kind of neurotic
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah.
He's a fucking hilarious comedian.
I love
man.
He's super funny. Love
Absolutely.
Tom.
Seen him live. I want to see him February 15th, but I'm fucking broke, so I don't think that that's gonna happen.
It's at Taft, right?
Pretty sure. I don't
think so.
Or
It's
Aronoff,
either-
maybe.
I thought he was at Liberty again.
No,
I heard he was sold
He's
out
at Taft
already. Anyways,
because Burr did Taft last, so he's a theater act now, like straight up.
I
Theater
think it's
act.
sold out too, to be honest.
I am seeing Patton Oswalt though.
And Chris D'Elia.
That's gonna be a
March
great
30th.
fucking time.
You're big into. You see a lot. You host a lot of open mic nights and stuff like that, right?
I don't host a lot anymore. I used to. I run the Liberty Township Funny Bone open mic.
That is a great fucking club, dude. I love
It
going
is.
up there. Well, I don't. You're silent, so I don't know if you've got some feelings about it. But every
No,
time
I like it a lot. I like both of them. We're extremely fortunate to have. Now I'm wondering where Tom Segura is, so I'm looking it up. No, I'm not. I give up. Aronoff. We're extremely fortunate to have the two clubs that we have. They have fairly different acts and audiences, but both are top-notch clubs.
You're talking about Liberty Funny Bone
And Go Bananas.
Yeah, Go Bananas is fantastic.
It's as a comic, Go Bananas is the more enjoyable club most of the time because the way the room is set up is better for comedy. It's a low ceiling, it's tight, it's more intimate.
It's a small stage too. It's not like that
Right.
big ass stage that
Well, the
Liberty
stage
has.
at Liberty is not that big. It's just the room is so goddamn big. It makes it feel like the stage is big.
They have that whole
it's a
upper area, too.
388 seat theater with a balcony.
Yeah.
You know, so at Go Bananas, you get 100 people, man. It feels like the time of your life. You get 100 people at Liberty, it feels like an empty room, man, and it's difficult.
It's dark and intimate too in that fucking Go Bananas room.
It is.
Once those lights are on you, I'm sure you can't even can you see the other people?
You can
in
see
the
like
room?
the first couple rows usually. Same thing at Liberty. You know, you see the first couple rows and that's about it, which can get you in trouble.
Why? Because you're just talking to those first couple people?
Well, because you don't see what else is going on in the room. So
Like, what do you mean? Like fights and shit? People heckling or?
Well, okay, so here's the example that I want to give. I'm featuring for Rail Battle. Rail Battle. And I hear a sound in the audience like a drunk person meowing, right? It's like, me. And so I think anytime something's happening in the showroom that the door staff doesn't know about, a lot of times if you make like a quick remark about it, it'll alert them that they need to go check on something.
Right.
So I said, did somebody bring a cat over there? And I pointed, right, into the direction it came from. It's black.
Meanwhile,
Can't
she's
see.
in a wheelchair and she can't.
Well,
her head's all fucked up. On a
Jesus.
He was...
she's all.
He absolutely was in a wheelchair.
I fucking knew it.
It
Wow.
was super, like... I don't know the politically correct way to say this, but he...
Back in my day, they called it tarded.
He definitely
Jesus.
had struggles in life that the four of us do not have.
Okay.
And
I was kidding about the retarded thing. I can't believe I have to
deeply-
say that.
Like, it was deep. It was pretty serious, whatever it was that he had. And but I can't see this, right? I can't see it. So maybe 2 minutes goes by, and
the whole crowd's against you at this point.
well, it wasn't the whole crowd. It was one white suburban liberal woman with a short haircut.
Asking for the manager and trying
Well,
to take
she
your
was
job.
already screaming in the manager's face when I came off stage.
Oh, of course she was.
And he's basically telling her to fuck off because she's not even with those people.
Right.
Like, those people didn't say shit.
How are you going to speak for their feelings? Like,
Right,
what the fuck
exactly.
are you talking about?
And, but yeah, I mean, I felt bad. You know, I didn't know. You know, I hear him yelling. I hear her yelling at him, and she's not being nice about what she's saying either. She's like, "That's a retarded person. He's making fun of it." First off, I didn't make fun of anybody. I pointed something out to the door staff so that they could fucking go check on it.
Right.
I didn't continue to harp on it. You know what I mean? I said what I said, moved on. A couple minutes later, it went by again. I was like, "Did you guys hear that again?" You know, again, thinking maybe the door staff went over, quieted them down, and maybe they need to go back. So the lady's yelling at the manager, and I'm just like, oh, fuck. Because I can hear what she's saying, and I'm just like, oh, this is it. This is the time. This is the blog that I make it to.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
Somebody's got a cell phone camera going.
Right? And, you know, I had no idea.
Right.
You know, and so sometimes that not being able to see the audience sometimes is helpful because you're not as nervous. But also it can be...
My palms are
negative
sweating for you
situation.
right now because I'm just thinking, like,
oh, dude, I was so terrified. As soon as she
Serious
left, she
cringe.
didn't stay for the rest of the show. Her and her husband went up the elevator and left, and I go out, and I'm like, Sean, we good, man? Like, I thought I was about to be fired for the rest of the weekend, you know? And he's like, fuck that bitch.
hell yeah.
But she was super drunk, you know what I mean? And speaking, those people didn't say a single word. And
That's awesome when you have like a club owner or manager behind you that's
Yeah.
just like all about the comics and it's just
Yeah.
like gives a fuck.
I
Somebody's
had
getting
another
offended.
situation where
You
the
shouldn't be in a
manager
comedy club if you're getting offended. Fuck
stuck
you.
up for me in Newport. There was these two cowboys. I used to do this joke about a girl that she said her ultimate fantasy was to watch her man sexually dominate another man. And she tells me this after talking to her for like 2.5 hours. So at that point, I reply with, well, you know, you could have saved us both 2.5 hours if you just wanted to say you wanted to bang a gay dude. You know what I mean? She's like, no, a straight guy. And when I'm saying this joke, there's these two guys in cowboy hats and super tight pants who were like doing the super macho thing before the show, like hitting each other and stuff. And they start going, yeah, when I say that. And I'm like, please let that be those two fucking cowboys. And this lady thought that they were a couple. But they were definitely not a couple. They were like fucking redneck cowboy motherfuckers.
It was a
And,
Bromeo's night out and shit.
yeah, well, they have girls with them.
Right.
But so the manager told her basically, look, those dudes were not gay dudes. They were straight dudes. They were being assholes. Fuck those guys. We're not going to fucking fire him. And so that it feels good when they stand up for you. Not
Dude,
every
fuck
club
yeah.
does. you know.
Tell us one of those stories without the club name, of course, but I'm sure you
Yeah, I
got a
wanna hear
story
some
like that where you've been on the
crazy
road or
shit.
something.
I don't really have a story where I got thrown under the bus. Like, I've heard other people being thrown under the bus, but
Examples?
I mean, it's not my stories to tell.
Did you ever
Oh.
see something like that happen though? Like, were
I
you
haven't
ever
seen it with my own eyes. I've seen
Okay.
club managers shit on comics, but not because of an audience member.
right just because they're a fucking dickhead or something?
It happens, man.
They've got some weird shit on their rider.
They get some of those managers get power trips. We're pretty lucky here. But,
Sounds like you guys have two great clubs that you can go to and deal with.
absolutely, man.
And I know.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was gonna say it blows my mind that there's such a large comedy scene. I never knew that until like quite recently, in the past like year or two.
There's a Facebook page that Cincinnati stand up something or other.
Yeah, the group,
Yeah,
Cincinnati
it's
stand-up comedy.
fucking huge. Dude,
I think that's fucking cool.
Yeah, man.
There's a few thousand people in it, but
yeah,
it's,
there's people posting all the time like, "Hey, open spot here, need people here, there."
those people aren't all from here, though. You
Oh,
know what I mean? A
really?
lot. I'd say probably
It's still nice
half
that they're
of them
reaching
maybe are
out.
from here. You know, but there's maybe 150 comics in the city.
There's 150 comics in the city?
Open micers.
How many are worth a fuck?
I think there's like way more than that.
Hey,
many
that might
are
be a
worth
tricky
a
question to
fuck?
ask you. How many are worth a fuck, though? I'm going to
10
ask
to
you.
12.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
But a lot of them are newer. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of turnover. And the reason that group has grown as large as it is when comics start, they join it, and then when they quit, they don't leave.
Oh, okay.
You
Just
know.
stay there.
You
And
keep the
they're
numbers.
welcome, you know what I mean? But that's part of what that is. It's the scene is not as big as that group would have you think.
From watching a lot of open mic and a lot of new comics performing, I know that it's a big thing where like you might be watching a lot of comedy before you get into it. You might be a super fan of a bunch of different comedians. So I hear these stories about other comedians telling about new comics like imitating certain styles of other comics. Like Tom Segura was just talking about in his podcast recently about how he was doing very Chris Rocky shit, like, or Eddie Murphy stuff where he's pacing back and forth on stage and like talking like Chris Rock talks, like the same mannerisms. And a lot of people talk about how Dave Attell would be a big, like, everybody's biting on Dave Attell shit. Do you
Hedberg
see
is the worst, dude.
like that stoner?
There's like 10 comics in every scene that want to be Mitch Hedberg. They talk like him. They do weird one-liner style jokes like he did.
they shoot heroin like he did.
One of them at least. Which he's a piece of shit, and I hope he gets hit by a car today. But
Shout him out. What's his
today.
name?
I'm not saying that motherfucker's name. Fuck him. No, that's not true. I hope he got hit by a car yesterday, and I find out about it today.
Damn.
Dude, my fucking.
So Hedberg's
There's
a
not
big
a lot
one?
of people that I hate, but the people that I do hate, I hate thoroughly.
I'm sure you have. I'm sure you have.
Like, I
excellent
kind of hate
reasons.
everyone. You know what I mean?
Right.
But like, as far as individuals go, there's not a ton of them.
Why is that dude such a bag of dog shit? Did he try to fuck your girlfriend? What happened?
Yeah.
What
Yes.
makes a guy?
Yeah?
Ooh.
What
I was
is
gonna
with
say.
you just being spot on with all the stories? So
It's
far,
well,
man?
my ex.
Smell in the
you know.
air. Oh, he tried to fuck your girl? I smelled it in the air, Luke. That's how.
But also, he was getting her high, like,
Oh, man.
and she's
Wow,
an
Cody.
alcoholic drug addict who was clean at the time. You know, she's a piece of shit too, though. And it's court documented that she's a piece of shit.
Like you could type her
Fuck
name into a
yeah.
database and find out she's a piece of garbage.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. But at the time, it was something where you're just like, what
At the
fuck,
time, I
dude?
was mad, you know, and he moved to a different city
Ran away.
because he was afraid of me.
Ran away.
What were you capable of at this time in your life?
I mean, I'm always capable of whatever.
Oh man, what were you gonna? Did you have some plans in your head? You didn't do it, obviously.
I
so-
don't threaten people, so I didn't threaten him.
Right, you just act.
But I just told him I needed to see him. That's kind of how I do it. People who make threats never follow through.
And also incriminate themselves for the rest of forever.
I did
with
tell a
their
young
threat.
dude, like an 18-year-old kid the other day, that I would skin him alive. But he did some shitty stuff, just not to me.
Oh, tell us the story.
Yeah, I want
Jay.
to hear
You can't
more.
just-
You're getting dark, and I want to
I
hear
can't,
more.
I can't tell you the story, but I passed it along to his friend that I'm not looking for him, but if I see him, I will probably provoke him.
What did he
And
do?
if he I can't say. It involves other people, man.
Can you say it without
their
names?
story.
What
or,
happened to your
like,
friend?
Dance around, make it a
You don't-
fictional
you don't have to
narrative.
talk about it if
You
you
don't
don't
have
have
to.
to.
It's okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, people that are involved will probably be listening to this.
Okay, fair enough.
So, yeah, not. But yeah, I mean, that's not. That's obviously something I'm not going to follow through with. You know what I mean? I'm not going to skin somebody alive. You understand how much effort you have to put forth for that?
What are you, the fucking
I'm
predator?
way too lazy.
No, I know. I'm sorry. I feel like we drug you into weird waters here because I see you getting like a little like, come on, change the subject. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that to you.
No, it's fine. We can talk about murder and death all you want.
Okay, tell us about your first murder, Jay. What was that like?
The first time that I was murdered. No, I'm just kidding. Obviously, I'm alive. But no, I mean, men that don't protect the things that they love through any means necessary aren't men. And people can say that that's toxic. They can go fuck themselves. And, you know, I've been accused of toxic masculinity a bunch.
Sure.
But I'm still the guy that people come to and say, hey, will you walk me to my car?
Because you need actual, like...
Because you need real men in this world.
Yeah.
And
trying to
people-
pussify everybody
people-
is not going to work.
Well, people get toxic masculinity confused. It's a real thing. Just because you're somebody who's willing to be violent if necessary doesn't make you toxic. If you're being violent to get what you want, that makes you toxic. If you're being violent to protect other people or yourself, that's a completely different story. You know, and it's the reason we've survived as long as we have.
I was just going to point that I wholeheartedly agree, by the way. Like, I don't like the attack on, like, dudes being dudes. Like, no one attacks women for being women. Like, and if they do, they're a bag of dog shit and they get called out for being a bag of dog shit.
Right,
like,
well, here's the dangerous part in this conversation. What do you mean by being women?
I don't fucking know. Whatever that means to them.
That's the
How about
right-
that?
that's the
Let's
right
leave that up
answer.
to them. Whatever the fuck that means to them without getting myself in trouble. Like, and it's fine if there's the opposite version of that. I'm not shitting on, like, if you're an effeminate man or if you're a woman that's more masculine. Like, whatever, do your thing. But, like, I feel like the majority of people fall into the, like, more like if you're a woman, you're more of a woman, more girly, and if you're a guy, you're more of a boy, you're more manly. Like, that's just the majority of people.
You're the
and
worst thesaurus ever.
I know, but what I'm saying is, like, it feels weird having to even get into this subject matter because, like, now everybody's butthole's sealing up. Like, oh, Cody, don't get us all in fucking trouble right now.
No, I'm waiting for you to fucking just make yourself look like a bag
Slip
of
up
shit.
and make myself
Yeah,
look
yeah,
terrible.
no,
I will definitely help
Get out your
I
horrible
see-
points.
I see everywhere pulling a dagger out. I feel like Caesar right now.
have a
Everybody's
knife?
just got their daggers ready to jam it in my arteries and stuff.
if we just keep letting
Keep
you
going.
talk,
Keep
You
you'll-
guys
you'll
are the
eventually-
co-hosts here. You can use this.
I called dibs on the first stab.
That's the first time somebody's pulled a knife out on the
I
podcast.
love my knife.
Knives rule.
How much?
It's a very utilitarian sort of deal. It's not much of a fighting knife.
I like that you've
But I feel
cleverly
like-
changed the subject.
I feel like these two dudes could definitely stab you with it, though. It's pretty sharp.
I think
could.
that, like,
I
I
promise.
could definitely fight off Luke, and I would have a challenge with Pat, but I could probably fight off Pat if I needed to. But both of them at the same time, probably fuck.
Your chances of running from him are better because you can get to those steps.
I mean, I feel
He's
like
kind of between you and the steps.
if like they get that rage virus from like 28 days
28
later and
days.
shit, I could probably just like knock this TV over and go straight down the stairs and just bolt for it with my fat ass. Like, I've got enough.
the
like,
fucking baby
If you don't
gate
trip
would
over all
fuck
those
you.
wires,
Yeah,
I haven't smoked in 3 days, so like maybe I've got like before I get drunk later today and end up smoking a couple cigarettes, like I've got like a little bit extra, like no more carbon monoxide in my lungs, so I might be able to make it.
you should vape instead of smoke, man.
I've talked to you
the
about
way
it
of the
before.
future, brother.
yeah, you really
Patrick.
should.
Patrick, gun to the head. You're not leaving this house. Rachel will die. You have to kill him before he leaves
done.
the stairs.
I could do that.
You think you could kill me in hand-to-hand combat, Patrick?
If I'm real quick, hold on. If I am,
Like if it was just me and you and our bare hands, who's winning, Pat?
I don't know, but I will say, if I'm quick enough, I just gotta get the right angle.
If you can get a blade into somebody just an inch anywhere, they're probably gonna die pretty quick.
Look,
Yeah, for sure.
Here's some tips for you guys who may not fight a lot.
You know this about from
Always-
reading a bunch of books, right? Not from any actual experience.
You always tackle who you're fighting. Mm-hmm. Always.
I don't fist fight anybody. I pick
Yep.
them up and slam them
You
on their
completely
You
disorient
spear
him.
them, and then
Yeah.
you bite their eyebrow as deeply,
head. I've never
Fuck.
done that, Mike
as
Tyson.
deeply as you can.
You've done this?
I don't know that there's a statute of limitations on assault.
There it is. It's 3 to 5 years.
What happened to your friend?
But when you bite someone's eyebrow, that bleeds immediately, and it bleeds
Blinds them.
profusely, and it freaks them the fuck out. So no matter how mad they were a minute ago, now they're afraid.
That's
like
true.
this motherfucker
Yeah,
just
well, that's-
bit my face.
It's so close to my eye.
When boxers do get cuts above their eye,
That's
it-
why
it
you put
bleeds
elbows. That's why
heavy.
MMA fighters do the elbow
Yeah.
to the eye,
Yeah.
so that you fucking
Damn.
cut that eyebrow.
It's a hard,
fucked.
hard
So you just
muscle.
bite right at that eyebrow, and you gotta like. You ever seen a dog like shake a toy?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
trying to tear it
that.
apart.
Try to
fucking
snap its
bite
neck
in and
and
just
shit.
fucking yank your neck to the side, and then blood everywhere, and then the fight's over, and you win.
Well, do you,
And
What
then
if you
no
miss and
one
get their
ever
eyeball?
fucks with you again.
well,
Yeah,
I know
well, true
Do it in
shit.
front of everybody.
a human being
Yeah.
could like easily bite through their own finger if they didn't have the mental blocks to keep them from doing it.
I don't know that
Do you-
easily is accurate.
It,
I mean, it
would
could
be
be done.
Yeah, but it would be. I don't. Without the
I mean,
pain.
bone is pretty fucking hard.
3 times
between-
stronger than concrete.
Right between.
Is that real? Did
Yeah,
you just
that's
make
so-
that
three
No,
fact
that's
times
up?
totally
harder
real.
than concrete?
Yeah, it's 3 times.
Then how
tougher
come
than
every time my
concrete.
grandma falls, she breaks a fucking bone?
I guess it's just
But
the
like,
angle.
Osteoporosis.
Yeah.
Do you think it would be easier to tear apart another person than your own?
I think bones are the same density, man.
No, I meant like just the eyebrow. Period.
I think that your ability to bite your own eyebrow is fairly limited.
All I know,
Sorry,
It's definitely
I'm not
easier to
wording it
bite
very
someone
well.
else's eyebrow.
I don't know a lot about fighting, but I've been in my fair share of fights. And all
Yeah.
I know is when I get into a fight, I usually end up slamming somebody and holding onto them and closing the distance. And I always hit them with this hand because I've got a big ass ring, and I know that this ring cuts people's faces open because I've
Elbows
done
and
it
teeth,
several
man.
times.
Elbows and teeth.
Yeah, every time I get into a fight, I'm hammered. I don't know if the causation,
remember
correlation equals causation, but I'm sure that
Next time, remember elbows and teeth.
I'm sure
You
you're doing
will
a
win
little
immediately.
elbow.
Do you understand how much of a buzz you wear off with that kind of adrenaline? You know what I mean? Fuck that. End it quick. Enjoy the buzz. You spent money for that.
You're
Can you
right.
Be my
You're
fucking
100%
You should teach him
right.
some moves
I
after
should
the
be
podcast.
a fucking life coach.
That cocaine might have been free, but goddamn it, I'm not getting any more. So I better.
Right.
I want
gotta
Jay.
end this quickly.
I want Jay Armstrong to be my street coach.
He is really laying some prison knowledge on us today. Jay, last time you were on, you've glazed over this. We're not going to get into it this time. Listeners, if you heard him talk about being a recovering heroin addict or us talking about him going to jail, we covered it all last time. It was a fucking
Great
real-
episode.
It was a good episode, but
Really
it was
good
real
fucking episode.
somber, and he's a
It
comedian.
was
We
definitely
were
serious, yeah.
very serious, and at the
We,
end,
we
he
had
was-
jokes.
there was one or two jokes in the sad recovery story and shit. If you guys want to hear that story, go back and listen to that. So
I actually just did a documentary for, it's called Faces of Policy, for this think tank, nonpartisan think tank in Washington, D.C. that's going to be shown to like senators and House representatives.
is it going to be
people and
available
stuff.
for the public?
I don't know yet, but it's about recovery, and I thought that was pretty cool.
If you do know, share the fuck
yeah,
out of it on our
man.
page or whatever, man.
dude.
Like, promote your shit all the time, constantly. You got great shit. There was something that I wanted to get to about. Hold on, let me go to my questions here. Do you ever see people? I was just asking you this, but I don't feel like we went super in depth on it. The Hedberg thing. So you see people like trying to be Hedberg and things like
Yeah,
that.
for
Is
sure.
that so? That's the biggest one around here, at least, is people trying to be Hedberg.
Oh, I mean, it's everywhere.
Do you know when you started off, if you had tried to, not intentionally, but if you had been like definitely imitating anybody's style?
Not style, but there was definitely words that I picked up, which one you pointed out to me, and which I changed the wording. You know what I mean? Which I do it. I don't really even do that joke at all now, but initially I just changed the wording on it, and then I did a Dane Cook joke once.
Like
where-
you heard a special and then fucking it's in your head, but
Yeah,
you didn't do it on purpose?
right? And somebody brought it up to me in a cool way after the show, and I was like, no shit. Like, no wonder. Like, it sounded familiar when I was writing it.
Right.
You know, but the thing, it was just a subconscious thing. It bubbles up. It happens.
You're saying you wrote it without really knowing that you wrote it? Is that what you're saying? I'm sorry if that
it
doesn't
was
make sense.
it was something that I had heard before, and
And he said it like it was an original idea.
and
Gotcha.
I felt like I thought of it myself.
That makes sense.
Which is why I started Googling everything. Which it does. It's not going to come up with everything. Sometimes it's hard to word it in a way that
Yeah.
it would even find it. But yeah, I started doing that pretty thoroughly after that. And it happens all the time. People will see stuff when they're kids. And I mean, the Dane Cook joke that I saw was probably 10 years before I started doing stand-up. You know, and then somebody told me, and they were like, hey, maybe look into this.
At least you're doing your due diligence
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
like changing it and looking into this stuff. Some people just fucking would probably steal it and not ever.
Right,
"Oh,
some people
fuck
do
it."
street jokes. And also, sometimes people that call other people out on it don't do it in like a constructive, helpful way. They're like, motherfucker, you're a fucking thief. You know what I mean? Maybe they weren't. You know what I mean? It's very possible that you heard something a long time ago, and then it kind of bubbles up to the surface through your subconscious, and you're like, oh, fuck. If you guys ever watched the television show Marin, it's on IFC.
I've seen the first 2 or 3 seasons of it.
But like that happens to him on that. He does the joke on national television.
Bill Burr's on his podcast in the beginning of the episode, and he's just like, after the podcast, he's talking to Burr, and he's like, hey, you ever like steal a joke or something like that on accident and you didn't know
And
about
he's
that?
like, no.
And he was like, no, I would never do that. You're a piece of shit if you do that.
Yeah.
And Aaron was like, oh, okay, well, all right.
And then he's
And
freaking out about it, yeah.
The entire
But I mean,
fucking
it
time.
happens. It absolutely happens. And, you know, you definitely should, if you're listening to this and you see that happen, you should definitely say something to that person.
Wasn't Louis C.K. the one in? I'm sorry, I'll keep going back to this Marin episode, but wasn't Louis like the guy that he stole the joke from? And Louis
It may have been, yeah.
in that episode was supposed to be a nobody
And
that
he was
living
shitty
by
about
himself.
it. Yeah. Which I got accused of stealing one of my own jokes one time.
What happened?
Which was super funny. A dude comes up, he's like, man, that ain't your joke. I heard that joke. And I was like, really? Where did you hear that one? And the guy's like, man, he's like, fuck you, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, dude, if you just tell me whose
And
joke
you're just
it
staring
is.
at his eyebrow. Like
And
I
he
could
was-
tear
he
right
was
through
like,
that
I
with my
will
teeth.
bite
I got
your
dental
eyebrow
work
off.
today. I'll take that
This
whole
is outside of
eyebrow
it's
off.
outside of a bar in Covington. And the guy's like, it was at the Newport Funny Bone, man. You saw that guy come through, blah, blah, blah. And I had just shaved my beard off. And I was like, did the guy have a big, giant beard? And he was like, yeah. And I showed him a picture. I was like, that's me, motherfucker. And we had a good laugh. You know what I mean? Right. But that
My
dude was,
bad.
so it was like two-sided, right? Like, so he's sticking up for me and he's accusing me. You know what I mean? So it kind of felt good that, like, the guy liked my
Yeah.
joke enough that he remembered
It's a compliment.
it. And he didn't think I was from here. He thought I was a traveling comic, which at the beginning of the show you introduced me as local. But
Yeah, I'm sorry. You're a road act for sure.
but
You
yeah, I
get around.
definitely travel. I hit both coasts last year. So far, I've got booked for this year. Not really anything on the coast, but I got some Minnesota stuff, which is super exciting.
Dude, that's fucking awesome.
We've got a Minnesota listener. Plug some shit. What do you got?
It's a recovery show. It's March 10th.
You got any other upcoming dates that you want to plug while you're here?
I don't really have anything local, man. I got some shit in Laura, Ohio. I got some shit in Tennessee. I got some shit in Indiana. But I just don't have anything local really on the books now, other than the open mic that I book at the Liberty Funny Bone.
But if people want to hear you, you're always on the 700 WLW,
Every
aren't you?
Tuesday, yeah. Normally every Tuesday from 9 to 11.
What do you
Thanks
talk
for-
about?
Gary Jeff Walker, politics, man.
Politics?
Yeah.
Like just shitting on politics?
That's what I do. That's my job.
That's
I
your
just make
job.
fun of stuff. I mean, it's a conservative station.
So there's. Oh, okay.
So
okay.
Gary Jeff Walker's a very conservative dude. Hell of a guy. Love him to death.
You ever get super heated in there?
I have yelled at audience or callers before.
You've yelled at callers?
I've yelled at callers before.
Like, what are they saying?
Wait, are you like a Trump supporter?
No, I don't support any
I mean,
politicians.
I don't care. I'm just
Like, I
asking
posted-
because
I don't
wanna-
care,
Sure
but are
as
you-
shit
do you
sounded
support that
like
piece
you
of
did.
shit?
You're like, wait,
I
are you
actually
a Trump
posted the other day that I
She
thought
probably cares with her Miss Obama bumper sticker, but
Anyways, go on.
all politics are fucking terrible.
that's how I feel
yeah,
about it. So I don't know
absolutely.
dick about politics.
All
I just
government
wanna
is
know.
force. You know what I mean? All government is force, and they can all go fuck themselves. And I don't give a fuck if it's the left boot or the right boot stomping on your throat. It's still fucking a boot stomping on your throat.
I like the boot analogy. My analogy was always two left and right wings of the same bird. To me, it's the same shit. Like they're all shaking hands at the end of the night and deciding how they want to spend.
I
your
mean,
money.
I think Crass nailed it in like 78. Left-wing violence, right-wing violence all seems like the same bully boys out fighting. It's just the same old game. And it is. The one thing that I like about the right better than the left is that the left wants the government to be my master, and at least with the right, I get to pick which corporate master I have. You know what I mean? I get some say in whose fucking boot is going to be on my throat.
Instead of playing their game, why not be a part of like fuck their game? Like fuck picking a side. Like I'm not gonna pick one of your sides. Your sides suck. I'll make my own side.
That is basically how I am, and that relates pretty deeply into like Satanism. You know what I mean? There is no God. There is only self. There is only the mind.
What we call Satan is Anton
LaVey's version of Satanism.
LaVeyan Satanism, where Satan is an actual theistic
me-
being. It's an idea that
Right.
represents the free
Is that what it
will
is?
of man.
Is that what Satan is? Okay, because
Well,
okay,
there is-
call me a noob,
there
all
is-
right? But I always thought it
You
was
are.
about Satan. I mean, I totally am
There
with
is.
this. I thought it was all about Satan. I was like, oh, is that what it
LaVey
is?
Satanism is an atheist religion.
Interesting.
There is no
Atheist
God.
religion.
I mean, Buddhism is an atheist
So-
religion also.
Okay.
It's more of a Buddhism is more of like a way to. It's not really a
I
religion.
mean, they
it's
say
more of
prayers
a-
and shit. It's a religion.
No, I was talking about Satanism.
They got a leader,
Not really. No,
The
they have,
Dalai
like,
Lama
Dude,
is the
wait.
fucking leader of Buddhism.
What do you feel about Scientology?
I'd
love your opinion
I mean, I
on
think
that.
it's a great cult.
It is a great cult.
It's
I mean, a giant cult.
it is. They got a ton of money. They're good at
Scientology?
brainwashing people, making people into slaves. It's
It's fucked up. All
it's
that
super
money
fucked
people
up.
waste on that. Okay, so what was that old guy? Who's that woman from King of Queens?
Leah Remini
Yeah, she has some
Remini.
crazy show on Hulu right now that's all about her
exposing
experience.
Scientology.
And
yeah.
she does it so well. If you ever get a chance, watch that shit because that shit is fascinating.
Dude, you want to see a good documentary? Find
Yeah.
a fucking Italian woman with a resentment against whatever she's doing it on. You know what I mean? She will fucking pick it apart to the fullest, dude. That's just Italian people, man. They got that spunk, that fire, that
Italian
fucking,
hands in
Yeah.
the air. They got.
Yeah, they got it for sure, man. And you make an Italian person mad, they will find out everything about
My whole
you.
family's Italian. They're like, I think I'm third generation, and they argue all the fucking time.
Oh, I'm
all
sure
the
they
time, dude.
Cut
And
to the
can't-
fucking bones.
They can't get away from each other. They're always hanging out with each other, but they're always
They're
arguing.
always loud as fuck.
So loud, dude.
Like,
Does your family-
always.
So wait, does your family make a good gravy, a good Sunday gravy?
Dude,
then
my family has excellent cooks. Irish, Italian.
Same.
I just said
it's
gravy,
awesome.
and
The
you didn't know
Irish
what that
have
means.
never
You're not as
been-
Italian as
I'm
you
not.
think you
I'm not.
are.
I'm just talking about cooking food in general. I didn't get your.
I don't think
reference.
the Irish is a good example of good food.
Oh, I was just saying.
Irish
I was
food
just
is
saying in
fucking
general.
terrible.
You like boiled potatoes and seasonless chicken.
Cabbage.
all that's there. Italian.
We don't have fucking salt and pepper. There's a whole ocean right there. Ah.
I feel like I'm as Irish as an American can get, and the Irish food.
That's
is
very
fucking
true.
awful.
If you really think about it, it definitely is.
It's so weird for me to claim heritage. I don't feel like I'm anything other than I'm a Cincinnatian. Like that's as far like I am German. Like I have the immigration documents. A lot of people are like, we think we're German. I did a 23andMe. No, I have the immigration doc. I know I'm German.
I mean, in
but
the
I don't
last
feel any
century-
more German than I feel anything else. Like I just don't feel attached to any
I feel
heritage.
like there's
I
mostly
never-
German around here.
I never, unless, like, I understand some people are, it's thick in their family. Thick. Like, the whole heritage celebration, where they came from, where they're, like, dads, moms came from and whatnot. But, like, I never understood having so much pride. Like, oh, my God.
The last 100 years or so for the Germans haven't had a whole lot to be proud of, though. So I could see why.
Right?
My family immigrated before World War One, so what are you gonna blame us for? Like they got the fuck out of there. Like they didn't start any of the world wars.
Still German.
They left when it was still Prussia because it didn't become Germany until until all the different Prussian Austrian and Germanic nations came together and formed Germany in the First World War. But they left when it was still Prussia. So yeah, even that side of my heritage is like, what can you blame me for? Like I'm just like
I
a
can
Yeah,
blame
fucking
kinda here.
Cincinnatian through and through.
It's America. I'm allowed to blame you.
That's true.
You're a dude and you're white.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, you're part of the fucking problem, Cody.
Yeah, man. Fuck the patriarchy.
I don't even get that. Nobody's ever yelling at me for that either. Usually, like
We're telling you right now.
I see other people getting yelled at for it, but I don't really. I don't know. I just
Dude,
never feel
every
like I'm ever
single
gonna
week
attack
you
anybody.
come on this show and you fucking wave your big dick, white man dick around.
Did you
like,
say big
man,
dick? Because I know you're not talking about me.
You just don't
with
recognize
all your privilege,
your
man.
white privilege and microaggressions.
Yeah, you motherfucker.
Micro penis.
Yeah, you piece of shit.
As long as you're aggressive enough with it, you know what I mean? It can get the job done.
All right, I have something else I want to get to. How did you listen to the Lewis C.K. bit? And as a comedian, if you did, how do you feel about
Is this
it?
a new bit?
No, there's a leaked 55 minutes worth of material.
You know what?
from
Here's
governors.
how I
What?
feel about that bit. Louis C.K.
Not
has-
bit the whole
Can you
act.
guys tell me a little bit about it real quick? Because I'm trying to get a
Louis
good
C.K. has
idea
been
of it.
allowed back on maybe 3 stages since he got into all of his trouble for consensually jerking off in front of people. However you guys
it's
feel about it, I'm not going
it's
to pick a side.
Non-consensually.
No, it was all consensual.
It
all
was
of it.
Wasn't it
it
all
was-
consensual?
It was not. He surprised him with it most of the time.
They
Oh,
said
like,
that, and
like
then
they
if
walked
you,
in on him
no,
masturbating.
no,
be like,
like
oh,
he
you don't
walked
mind,
in and
do you?
just pulled the shit out.
No, that's not how it. I read the accounts from the women that said. So this was the rumors going around that he was locking doors and holding doors closed and look at my penis. Like it wasn't like that. He was. What they're complaining about is like all the victims said that he had asked them if he could jerk off in front of them, and they said yes, but they said that they said yes because he was their boss on a TV show at the time, and they felt like because he was in a position of power that they could lose their job if they said no. He never implied that, but that's the way that they felt. So he never I don't know, feel the way that you want to feel about it, but I've read the
How do you
his
ask
things about
someone
it.
that?
I've read all the things, the articles they've put out about it, and I don't want to go out of my way to defend him. Like, fuck Bill Cosby. Just because you're a comedian, I'm not gonna take your
But
side.
Bill Cosby was drugging people.
That's what I'm
he was
saying. He's a bag of dog.
Fucking rapist.
My point though is that like I'm not going out of my way to defend Louis C.K. because I like his comedy. If you're a bag of dog shit, I'm gonna call you out for being a bag of dog shit, even if I like your art. But like reading those accounts, he wasn't like, look at my penis. Like I didn't see any of those. Like I saw people online saying that that's what he did, but then you read the actual victims that like call him out for this shit. Blah 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 blah. We all know what happened. I don't want to make a point about any of that. What I want to get to though is there's been a couple stages that have allowed him to get up and do material since all this shit came out.
Edgy stuff about trans people.
It wasn't even just that. He said he said a bunch of shit. That whole everything.
So
in that thing.
here's the thing. Louis C.K. has made his career off of saying edgy shit that he's not supposed to say.
And it's killed.
And it has because he was liberal enough. That's why he got away with using the word that begins with F. That's a derogatory term for homosexual men. Why he was able to do the 5 to 7 minute bit using the N-word over and over and over again because he's liberal enough to where he got away with it, and he's technically Mexican, I guess.
He was born in Mexico. It was his first language. He spoke it for the first 8 years of his life.
Well, I mean, and CK stands for a Spanish name.
Yeah, it's like SIEKE or something like that.
But so he got in trouble, and then he came back, and he tried to go as hard as he could with the edgy shit, hoping that that would work in the same way. So I have never been a Louis C.K. fan, and for years people would fucking argue with me about it. It's like, look, the first 10 minutes is killer, the last 15 minutes is killer, the middle is all filler, you know, on every single one of his specials. Well, he writes an hour a year. No, he writes a half hour a year. You know, the other shit is just fucking time filler.
It's an interesting perspective. I've always really liked his comedy, but it's interesting to hear it from somebody that really doesn't like his shit.
I don't, and I just never have. And that's not to say that he never had any jokes that I didn't like. You know, like I said, the first 10 to 15 minutes is killer. The last 10 to 15 minutes is killer. The middle of it, he's just filling time, and you can hear the audience. Like if you stop paying attention to what he's saying and just pay attention to the audience throughout those specials, the middle is very quiet. But so, yeah, I think he's just trying to go the easy route to get some attention the same way that he got it the first time. And I think it's a cheap way. I think enough people... what I think is great is when he went to the Comedy Cellar and the lady yelled, "Show us your dick." And he didn't know what to do. He felt...
So
I didn't hear that story.
Yeah. She lady right in the front row, she felt very unsafe that he was there. She was... a victim of sexual assault herself, I believe, and
He's gonna rape me.
no, I don't think it was more like that. I think she was angry that they allowed him there, so she wanted to put him in that same uncomfortable position that he put those other women in, and I thought it was beautiful, for real.
That sounds comical.
I mean, that's like the ultimate heckle, I guess.
Did you listen to the material that had been leaked?
Yeah, and I didn't think it was great. I thought it was very half-assed.
I thought it was funny, but isn't it also like when you're working on a bit, doesn't it start at a place of like, isn't there an infancy to that bit where it's like, I'm not a comedian, so I've only ever heard other comedians' opinions about this, but I've heard the idea that he's working something out and this wasn't a final performance. I've heard Jim Norton argue that.
I feel like he should be better doing stand-up as long as he has, because I mean, you can go to middle school playgrounds and hear the kind of shit he was saying.
I don't know.
You know what I mean? It wasn't
he just like using swear words to use swear words or something?
I don't
or
think
saying
he was
edgy
saying,
shit to sound
like,
edgy?
Or just saying some shit that's close to, you know, obscene.
It was very low-hanging fruit type, like...
But he's always done stuff
wanna...
like that's always been his thing. I think that maybe you don't like his comedy, so you think all of his comedy's that.
Him and Anthony Jeselnik both. I think Jeselnik's
I like
the same way.
Jeselnik shit, but I get why you could be like,
But, I mean,
on.
middle schoolers say that shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not good joke writing. The thing with Jeselnik, if he didn't look the way that he looks and speaks the way that he speaks, it wouldn't be that funny. You know what I mean? He's a very good-looking dude, and it's shocking that he's saying
You expect him
the
to be a
dark,
good Christian
fucked-up
boy.
shit that he's saying. My big beef with Jeselnik is that as a comic and in the comedy community, like, a lot of us try to stop open micers from doing rape and cancer jokes all the time. You know what I mean? Like, any good ones that there are have been written. You know what I mean? You're not going to come with a funny, original, like, insight on sexual assault. You're just not going to do it.
It's interesting. So, wait, you don't think that there's that any topic? So there's topics that are off limits for you.
It's not for me. Yes, I'm not going to do a rape joke. It's not my experience. You know what I mean? I've never been on either side of that.
Right.
Unless it's towards Mike Tyson.
Yeah. Making a joke about a rapist and making a joke about rape are very different things.
For sure.
Especially if you're like calling that person out in the joke rather than making light
That makes sense.
of the assault. But yeah, it's just been done to death. You know what I mean? It really has. I also don't like to hear Fox News jokes. I've heard them all. You know what I mean? Same thing with Trump jokes. I get it. He's old. He's orange. He's racist. He's a fucking dick. You know what I mean? Like, if you come... So I got into it with a guy once about how hacky the Trump jokes are. And he's like, nah, fuck that, man. He's like, if I write an original joke, blah, 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 blah. So the next day, he posts a joke, and I searched Twitter for a few of the keywords, and screenshotted 13 different jokes that were already done the same joke as him.
You're like, this is the definition of hack material.
Right, it is. If it's low-hanging fruit, if it's an easy joke to do, then a lot of people are going to do it. And that's the same thing with all shock value jokes. But dead baby jokes, fucking...
I get it, but there's so many comedians out there that are like, they would do...
Talk about your life
they'd
experience.
Be quote-unquote punching down or low-hanging fruit. I mean, there's Jim Norton, there's Doug Stanhope,
Well, low-hanging
there's
fruit
Dave
means
Attell.
it's easy to reach. It's easy to get.
Right, Dave Attell's doing like midget jokes. What's easier to reach than a midget?
Depends on how...
A little person,
Depends on how tall you are.
Fuck.
Come on, man. Low-hanging fruit. I had to make the joke.
At least you didn't do a gay midget joke with the low-hanging fruit.
Wow.
But so, in like the 90s, like edgy comedy was the thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So all your dead baby jokes and your sexual assault jokes and your cancer jokes and your AIDS jokes, like they were done to death.
What about Norton? Norton does an AIDS joke on every new special, and I love Norton. I don't know how you feel about Norton, though.
Jim Norton is an interesting character. I feel like a lot of comics that do that kind of material are not that kind of person. Jim Norton is the guy that
creep
that he portrays on stage. That's him.
He used to get on Opie and Anthony. I used to listen to it every week. I'd listen to Opie and Anthony that they would put up on YouTube for free, and Norton's on there talking about banging transgender people. That's not the word that he used at the time. And
he's a special kind of dude, man.
He's out there living
but
a
he's
crazy
still talking
life.
about his life experience, though. You know what I mean? So that's what helps me keep my shit original. I talk about my life. So
what if these people, though? How about this? What if those open micers that are telling cancer jokes have people in their life that they love that they lost to cancer?
They never do. They never do. Maybe 1 out of 1,000.
Okay, how about this? I on this podcast, I'm not a comedian, but I tell jokes in this podcast sometimes, and hopefully they'll get a laugh. I've told jokes about my dad's suicide and told
way
jokes
too
about,
frequently.
Yeah, way too frequently.
They get fucking uncomfortable. Everybody's butthole seals up every time I talk about it.
Okay, next video.
So here's what I like about it. I like that it allows people like me that have gone through weird shit or whatever. Like comedy allows these things to not have power over me, and if I can make a joke about something,
right,
it doesn't.
And I'm totally into it. I make suicide jokes. I've dealt with suicidal ideation as long as I can remember. Like 7 and 8 years old is the first when I started wanting to think about killing myself. So I make jokes about that. But that's me, and that's personal to my life. And I typically don't do it on pro shows. I just do it at open mics or on Facebook. But so when the Jeselnik, the first real popular Jeselnik special came out, you immediately had 10,000 fucking open micers that wanted to be Anthony Jeselnik, and he was always there. Their justification for it. Now it's different if you got someone who's a seasoned vet who knows how to write jokes.
Right.
When it's a fucking open micer who's trying to get host work somewhere, like,
and they're up there just cracking rape jokes while it's like, come on, man, you're not gonna get fucking work anywhere.
You're not. And they're like, well, Jeselnik does it. Yeah, Jeselnik is a fucking theater touring headliner.
He's got a Netflix special. He's got several Netflix specials. Like, he can do this. He knows what he's doing. You don't know what you're doing, man.
And those specials are almost a disservice to new comics because the new comics aren't trying to get that spot. They're trying to get a host spot, and they're not seeing what Jeselnik did as a host.
I don't think they are, though, because new comics shouldn't be trying to compare themselves to something else that somebody else did. Because
comparing themselves and using it as justification are different things.
Right.
Same thing with Lewis C.K. Louis C.K. says the N-word on stage.
So now I should be able to do it. No, you shouldn't.
Right, yeah. You're trying to get host work.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't do that when he was getting host work
Right.
fucking 20 years ago or whatever.
Right.
You know, so I think watching a lot of comedy specials and trying to be like those comics is a disservice, because when you first start doing comedy, it's like being a painter. You know what I mean? If you look at like Leonardo da Vinci stuff, he didn't start out painting whatever he wanted.
Didn't make Vitruvian Man the first time that he fucking painted.
He did commissioned portraits for people. This is what we want. This is what we'll pay you. And that's the same thing with comedy. People always say, well, it's an art form and I can say whatever I want. Yeah, but if you want to do it for a living, you have to do what you're commissioned to do first. And as a host, and to some extent as a middle or a feature, you're still doing commissioned work. You have to do what the club is wanting you to do. And that doesn't mean you have to cover subjects they want you to cover, but it does mean maybe try to suit yourself to be able to be relatable and be able to open for multiple headliners.
Luke's been looking to get into comedy for forever, and he doesn't have the balls to get up on a stage yet, but we're going to
I'll
force
put
him
you
to
on
do
stage
it.
February 7th.
There you go. It's done. You got to do it now,
You're on the podcast, Luke. You going to do it,
or
bitch?
else you're a bitch.
I'm a bitch.
What would you tell...
I feel like
Okay.
there's a good chance that he's a bitch even if he does do it.
A very good chance.
But what would you tell, since Luke's here, speak to him directly. Like, what would you tell somebody like Luke that's trying to get into comedy right now? Like somebody that wants to start writing and getting into it.
I mean, you just got to do it. You know what I mean? It's like if you ever jumped off a cliff or a rock into some water, the longer you stand at the edge and look, the lower your chances of jumping.
Yeah,
You got to just do it.
Yeah.
It's getting to sound like a dick move, but every time I'm like, let's say you're about to do open mic, I'll be there and I'm going to support the whole time because you're my buddy. But the first thing I'm going to say to you right before you go on stage is, hey, man, I had a dream last night that you fucked up this whole night.
He says
But
that
it was
he'll
just
go
a dream,
every
though,
time.
so you'll be fine.
He won't go every time. He'll go twice.
And then he'll tell me he'll make the next one.
Exactly, for years. That's how it works.
I say that to anybody that's about to play their first show.
Even years after he's good at it and shit like that. How many times did that happen where you were just like, all right, I get it. I sucked the first couple times. Well, you told us that you
I
had
did
a
well
good,
the first time.
Yeah, you had a good
I started
experience.
sucking later. But I
Did
mean, people still say that, you know. So the big thing now is, man, when you're going to be local again, let me know. Oh, I can't get a babysitter that night. I didn't even tell you when it is yet. You know?
Wow.
I already can't make it.
yeah.
Whatever
Dude,
date
that's
it
so
is.
familiar, though. I mean, the same thing happens with, like, local artists or musicians
Yeah,
or
for sure.
other art, anything like that. Tattoo artists to say, oh, like, I need you to come this day. Oh, I can't cover it for that right now. It's
Yeah.
bullshit.
Billy, if you're listening, I really am working all the time on the weekends. Friday,
Billy?
Monday. I promise I really am not being able to make the shit, I swear.
Ooh.
But yeah, no, I mean, that happens all the time, dude. All the time. You know, tell me when you're going to be in town.
What's the biggest and craziest show that you've ever been a part of? I know you've done some rock festivals. but,
Probably
like,
Rock on the Range.
Dude,
Rock on the Range.
shit.
Dope.
I've done it twice. I did it in 16 and then last year in 18, which last year was way cooler because I knew what artist access granted me, which in 16 I didn't really know for the whole first day.
47 Red Bulls.
Yeah, dude, I drank a ton of fucking Monsters this year. They brought back like a whole fucking cooler, like the round coolers that you see in like gas stations. One of those just full from the bottom to the top, backstage in the comedy tent. And I would just go
Drink them all?
I would just go grab 4 of them, come out, give 2 to Amber, and fucking
Fuck the craft services table. I'm trying to get in shape.
yeah. We ate well.
What'd they have? They have some crazy shit for you guys?
This year,
How's Metallica eat? I gotta know.
you know, they weren't there when I was there. But yeah, I mean they. What was it this year? It was some kind of chicken, but it was like I don't know, like a weird Cajun lemon pepper mix. I mean, it was
Interesting.
good.
Sounds fucking delicious.
Like a buffet in the back or
Yeah,
something?
in the artist
Louisiana
tent.
lemon.
You have any interesting meetings with people like rockers?
I got to hang out with Pennywise. That was cool.
Yeah.
I met Ernie C and Ice-T from Body Count.
Fuck
that was
yeah,
cool.
Any
dude.
memorable stories?
The Ice-T was cool because he just came walking with this plate into the middle of the fucking like secured area during a perfect circle, which was super weird because it was just like he was at a cookout,
plate?
a plate of food, just a
And
random.
was that some random cookout?
Yeah, like he was at some random cook. He just comes walking in with it. Ice-T's weird though because like on TV he doesn't look like he's like 65 years old.
Is he on Law and Order?
But in yeah,
Yeah, that's
Law and
the
Order
show he's on,
SVU. Yeah, he's the black guy that's never a suspect. Which is a joke that I do now. Because we got to meet him, and we had our 12-year-old with us, which was cool. Who else did I meet? I got to hang out with the guys from Anti-Flag again, which I hung out
That's
with
cool.
them in '96 and a basement show on Wheeler Street up here in Clifton, which
That's
was
cool
pretty
as
I
fuck.
cool.
haven't thought of that band in a long while.
Yeah,
They're still playing.
they are still playing, man. They donate a ton of money to tons of different fucking charities and shit. They're good dudes.
How many people were you in front of when you were up there?
Probably like 300 this year. Probably like 516. The comedy
damn.
tent was a little more full. in
Oh, so it's a
16.
comedy tent. You're not up there on
Right.
that main stage.
Right.
Okay.
The most number of people I've ever been in front of was, I think, 3 years ago at Brouhaha. There was something like 8,000 to 10,000 people on the lawn. Mikey said.
Damn.
God
That's
damn! How
awesome,
tight
dude.
was your butthole? Did you just have flop sweats, or were you good?
No, it was good, man. I just went out there and I did my shit.
I feel like there'd
That
be
shit-
so many people that it wouldn't matter as much. You'd be. It
It's
would
weird
just,
outside
Yeah.
because the timing of sound coming back is significantly slower than you would think. You know, because it goes out pretty far. And they told me, they're like, you probably won't hear people laugh at all, so just pause where you normally pause and then keep going. And so I did, and then right when I started speaking again, I heard people laughing, and it fucked me up. You know what I mean? Because it just
It's
took a
loud as
while
fuck.
for it to come back to me. Because that year was packed. They said something like 50,000 people were there for the weekend over the course of 3 days. But we had good weather that year.
Yeah.
And then the next year we did not have good weather. Last year it wasn't terrible.
That's pretty cool that Rockin' the Range of all like things that go on is has comedy.
Yeah, I had
I got,
no
my,
idea.
so
I got my
cool.
name on a flyer with Ghost. I got my name on a flyer with the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
That's fucking. Do
which-
you get to keep those flyers?
Is that what's
or do you
like at the
just-
bottom there? Like that's comedians and
Yeah.
stuff? Dude,
That's
I always
incredible.
wonder, it's like, how have I never heard of these people that are at the bottom here? I'm expecting like rock
Yeah.
bands or some shit, but I
Yeah,
guess
no,
it's
that's the
comedians.
comics, yeah, so-
That's super cool.
Big J
Never
does
knew
a bunch
that.
of those. He's
Yeah, I
big
did.
into.
Big J was there both years that I was there.
Love Big
J
J.
and I get along well.
It's fucking hilarious. He's a great dude to just sit down and talk to too. I've talked to him for like 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah, no,
and
he's
just
great.
a
He's
nice
the dude
guy.
that does like super fucked up, dirty shock jock type shit.
and does it
Uh,
fucking well. Like
He just does it so nonchalantly. He'd be like, "Yeah, and the guy got fucked to death in the ass by a horse." And he was doing this bit before about
And he did.
about how he did. The guy did. He's like, you
Mr.
see,
Hands.
the way he did the joke was super funny though, because he's like, you know, you see women get fucked by horses on the internet all the time. They're fine afterwards. That's how I know women are stronger than men. One guy does it, fucking dies. You know?
his to plug him, if you guys go check out the Degenerates on Netflix, go watch the first one. That's Big J.
Legion
If you guys
Legion of Skanks.
Love Legion of Skanks, one of
Super
my
good podcast.
favorite podcasts. And
Yeah,
our
Big
dude,
J's cool.
our brother podcast, Shit Talking Cunts, Joey O'Neill's had Big J and Louis J. Gomez on his podcast before.
Right on.
They play
Guys wanna
Xbox
check
all the
that shit out.
time.
The most
Yeah,
famous
pretty cool.
person I had on mine was Guy Torrey. Do you know who that is?
He's the guy
Sounds
from
familiar.
American History X.
American History X, yeah.
He's the black dude that's in prison with Edward Norton that convinces Edward Norton not to be
not be
racist
racist,
anymore.
That's pretty fucking cool.
Is he a good comedian? Is he
Oh
fucking
my god,
funny?
he's hysterically funny. And he's super cool.
How
He's a
old is that
cool
dude now? I imagine, but black people never age. They
He's-
could, after
he's gotta be-
25, they're the same age until they fucking turn 100,
He's
and then
gotta
they get white hair and shit.
He's got to be 50.
Yeah,
his
does
bro-
he
he's
still
got
look
an-
like American History X, like shaved head, skinny motherfucker? Like,
I mean, he's in shape. He's a dude that takes care of himself for sure. He's got an older brother, Joe, that does stand up also. Which Joe looks significantly older, I think, or at least last time that I saw him. But they do very different styles of comedy. It's like Tony Rock and Chris Rock. They do very, very different styles of comedy. Tony Rock doesn't really do a whole lot of political stuff. Like
Tony Rock,
Chris
by the way,
does.
hilarious fucking comedian.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Nobody even
motherfucker,
knows
too.
about him. Nobody even
I
fucking
mean,
knows
he had
about
his
him.
own show on MTV. I think a lot of people know about him.
Yeah, hopefully. I
Maybe
hope they
in
do.
your circle, not a ton of people know about him.
Yeah, that's probably true. You're right.
But yeah, he's super funny, dude. Super cool.
What I meant by that statement is he should be as big as his brother is, because I think that he's just as
he's-
fucking good as Chris Rock. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, no,
why
he's hysterically
he
funny.
doesn't get the same notoriety. Everybody talks about Chris Rock, and I'm like, Tony Rock equally fucking hilarious.
Rock's last special is kind of weird.
Yeah,
I
it
haven't
was
even
terrible.
watched it. But so I did a sketch with Tony Rock. It's a Scared Straight parody, which I thought was pretty funny. If you guys get a chance, just look up.
Should we do it right now?
No, it's like 7 minutes.
Okay.
It's
Maybe
too
not
long.
the.
But it's
Where
it
can people
was fun
find
to
it?
do.
What do they look up?
you probably just want to look up Scared Straight parody Tony Rock.
You're the one with the neck tattoos and shit, so I'm guessing you were the one that was playing the prisoner.
Me, Tony Rock, and a guy named Aaron Nichols were the three prisoners in it.
Who is the kids? You have actual kids?
One of them was a local comic named Hassan Carr, and then it was 2 dudes that just kind of knew the film production guys. One of them's a white rapper. Or he was, anyway. I don't know that we're friends on Facebook anymore. I've lost touch with so many people since my main account's constantly on fucking ban.
When do you get that shit back? You got one day?
Tomorrow, January 30th.
And how soon before you fuck that up? Like, what's your average on fucking up your main account?
18 hours is the shortest so far. But all I said was on New Year's Day, and everybody's making the fucking don't drink and drive, do this instead jokes, and mine was don't drink and drive, mainline meth, and drive like a fucking adult. And they gave me a 30-day ban for that shit.
Why?
And then I appealed it, and they shot me down, and then I appealed it with an explanation.
Can you imagine the dude, after you appeal it, some dude actual person has to look at it, and they read it, and they're like, nope, you deserved it.
Yeah, fuck you. That's exactly what they did this time. And every time you get banned, it becomes easier to get banned. So now people could probably report anything that I post, and I'll get banned, which, fuck you if you're the joke police.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I recently had a situation where the day that those Covcath kids got slightly wrongfully accused of being...
I don't even know that story. What is that? Can you tell me that story right now?
It's fucking fuckery is what it is. The
So-
whole thing is fuckery.
So the initial clip was just this Covcath kid with a MAGA hat on staring down this Native American dude while he plays the drums, and it looks bad.
Yeah.
But those kids were standing there waiting for the bus when that dude walked up to them.
Weren't they getting like shit talked the whole time
They
from the
were.
actual protesters?
They were
Right.
being yelled at by some like
I don't know.
Anyway, it was a different group. It's not important.
It's not important.
But so the joke that I made about it was I'm tired of seeing everybody say that those kids represent the city of Covington.
I remember this.
Dude smoking in bars
Yeah.
and shooting meth
No,
up represent Covington.
I said I can tell just by looking at them that none of them have ever been on Suboxone or had to have been revived with Narcan.
Yeah.
Right?
Thank you.
Which I thought was a
Thank
funny
you.
joke. And first of all, Covcath in Park Hills, not even in Covington. But yeah, I just got tired of my city getting shit talked. So I made that joke. And some lady's like, are you trying to be funny right now?
Yeah, I'm a
I saw
fucking
that.
comedian,
I saw
lady.
that.
I am trying to be funny,
He
actually.
was like, drug addicts are a fucking easy target, blah, 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 blah.
and you're the best of both worlds.
And-
You're a comedian.
and
It's
I
your
was-
job to be funny, and you're a drug
I
addict.
told her, I was like, look, I'm a drug addict in recovery, and if I want to make jokes about a disease I have, I'm going to, and I don't give a fuck who doesn't like it. And,
Oh my god, that's the perfect setup. That's like what the setup that you go to bed and dream about. Like, I hope I'm talking shit on Facebook one day, and somebody's like, "Are you trying to be funny?" Actually, bitch, I'm a comedian, and calls me out for talking shit on druggies. Like, oh man, I just go to bed like dig hard as fuck thinking about that.
yeah, dude, I usually don't go that hard at people when it comes to like whether or not I should do a joke, because I'm always willing to listen. While I'm a very fuck you, I'll do what I want kind of dude, my mission is not to hurt people. It's not to cause harm to people emotionally.
Right.
While if it happens, sometimes, it happens. Sometimes I'll
Collateral
be sorry
damage.
for it.
Sorry to be
Right.
Blackwater about it, but
But so when she said that, I'm like, fuck you. You know what I mean? It'd be one thing if I was making a joke about diabetes or fucking cancer or something and she got all upset. Then she said that shit. Nah, fuck you, bitch.
wow.
I was fucking mad. Like, legit
Sizzling.
upset.
Spicy J.
I'm sorry, I got caught off guard because when I said Blackwater, both of you guys looked at me like I said something.
That
What?
made me think about something.
Okay, anyways. Sorry, moving on. I want to go back to something we were just talking about, shitting on comedians. I don't normally do it. I don't feel like it's my place to do it. I'm not a comedian. I don't have a place to do this. But we have a comedian on. Let's talk about this. Have you listened to that Comedians of the World thing on Netflix? Do you have time?
I haven't.
Okay, so the first one, American comedians, Chris D'Elia. They've got Neil Brennan on there. I know that you don't like Trump jokes. You think Trump jokes are hack, blah, blah, blah.
They've
He had
been
some
done to death.
It's some pretty good Trump jokes in the beginning and I think the same way. I'm like, I don't want to hear any political jokes. I don't like politics at all.
If
I
it's
don't give a
original,
fuck
it's
about
fine.
it. Thought it was great.
But if the punchline is that Donald Trump is orange, old,
Not at all.
racist,
No.
or a misogynist,
his joke, I don't want to burn his joke. If you want to listen to it, go listen to Comedians of the World. Solid start. And I'm the same way. I'm like, dude, stop. Like when Maron opened his special with Trump jokes, I'm like, shut the fuck up. I don't care. I don't care at all. Shut the fuck up. He had no original points about it. I'm just like, whatever. I thought the American side of it was great. Me and her are watching it. We're laughing our dicks off. Who's the dude from Reno 911 with the cowboy boots on? Nick Swartzen. He does a thing on there on the American side. I was
He
like,
had roller skates on.
Sorry. Anyways, fantastic. All the American comedians, fantastic. We got to the very first Canadian comedian. Not saying anything about Canadian comedy,
fuck Canada.
but maybe I am. Maybe I am.
The best Canadian comedian is Ian Bagg.
Me and her, well, we'll get back to that. But me and her are sitting there watching this shit, and we get to the first lady. She comes out, short haircut, blonde hair. I don't remember her fucking name. I wish I did so that I could shit on her. Big ass, ridiculous looking fucking bow tie on and like ridiculous pinstripe suit on. And like I'm just waiting for her to be funny. And her whole like being funny thing was that, not exaggerating, was that she was a lesbian vegan. And she's like, yeah, I'm a vegan.
Fuck?
Yeah, and she was just saying like dumb shit over and over. I don't even have the jokes that she was saying. I was just bumming. Get on the mic. Get on the mic. Come over here and get on the mic if you're going to say it. Don't say it off the mic. Come on.
It was about her dog and like her raincoat, and she had a matching raincoat with her dog. Remember that?
Yeah, that was her joke. She was like, every time I think I'm like a bad bitch, and then like I look at my dog and I'm in my raincoat and we're in the rain, and then I look at my dog and my dog has the same color raincoat on, because of course she does, because I'm a vegan. And I'm like, that's not a joke. That's just painful.
Cringe.
How did you get a fucking Netflix, like a 30-minute Netflix special? Like, I don't fucking understand. Like, it was just like, I don't care what place of life you come from. Like, if your whole thing is like you're a vegan, lesbian, whatever, be funny about it. Just be funny about it.
First off, fuck Canada.
Get up there and be hilarious.
They didn't even gain independence from the Queen of England until 1982.
What?
Is that real?
Really?
Yes.
That's real?
That's
They
real.
didn't have a prime minister until then?
Fuck Canada.
Holy shit.
Also, fuck Australia. Australian
fuck
comics
Australia.
are probably the fucking worst. And they just have, part of it is that they have a different sense of humor. Like, we're viewing their jokes through our frame of reference. You know what I mean? Which they think we're a bunch of fucking shit-kicking, violent redneck motherfuckers. You know what I mean? But
Right.
Australia is a bunch of violent, shit-kicking, redneck motherfuckers.
They had to take everyone's guns because they don't trust them with them. They were
Right.
like, you had one
And then
mass shooting. This is Australia.
And then
You're gonna
the crime rate went down immediately and then back up to where it was. Only they're not using guns.
Now
for
they've
it.
got machetes and clubs.
So
like
now-
they're living in the fucking 1650s. and
Same
shit.
thing happened in England. Now you can't even carry a knife in public.
So now they've got spears and fucking Flintstones
Dude,
clubs.
you can get
Like,
arrested for having pocket knives there. Dude,
now
they're-
cars are illegal.
No, they have slings for rocks they find in the street.
it's a
David and Goliath style.
It's very biblical over there.
Drunk at the pub.
But I just got added to this group on Facebook called I Bet You Weren't Expecting That Response, where people will post things and then you're either looking for sympathy or people to agree with them, and then the response in the comments is very different, so people will share those in it. One of them was from an English police force, and it's a picture of like this 6-inch fucking folding pocket knife, about the same size as the one that I have in my pocket, and they're talking about like how you guys are glad that we got this from the bad guy and put him in a cell and blah, blah, blah. And all these people are commenting like, dude, I've been carrying one of those for years and I've never done anything to anyone. What the fuck is wrong with you? But yeah, in England, man, you can't regulate human behavior. It just isn't going to work.
No,
you know what I mean? If
it's never
somebody
worked.
wants to hurt people, they're going to fucking hurt people. And now I'm not like a super all guns fucking dude. I'm not allowed to touch guns, but I still want them to be legal. For people who haven't had their privilege to own a firearm taken.
I'm not a biblical person or anything like this, but I watched this documentary a long time ago against weed or whatever, or about weed rather, and it had a really good point about prohibition, like a quote about prohibition that I like. This officer was on there, former officer, now weed advocate, whatever, weed rights advocate for everything being legal, blah blah blah, and he was like, "What was the first prohibition?" And then he was like, and then somebody in the background says alcohol, and he was like, no, I'm talking about the first prohibition. He was just like, don't eat the forbidden fruit, which I'm not a Christian, whatever, I don't believe it's true. But good point. He was like, don't eat the forbidden fruit. And what's the first thing that we did? We ate the forbidden fruit, because prohibition is never going to work. It's never worked from the beginning of human history. It's not going to work in the middle of it. It's not going to work now. It's not going to work in the future. It's not going to work ever. You can't prohibit things, tell people not to do things, not to... I
They don't
mean,
want to do it.
there definitely needs to be laws and shit that tell people not to murder and rape. Otherwise, we're going to either execute you or throw you in a cage for the rest of your life. But, like, as far as, like, personal things like drugs and fucking weird, like, consensual sex things and weird consensual...
Yeah, there's still
I wanna
places
get
where
beat the shit
sodomy
out
is
of
illegal.
things. Or a consensual fist fight even. Like, things like that. Like, you just shouldn't be able to regulate certain things because it's not going to work out.
I definitely, I don't smoke weed at all and haven't for almost 14 years now, but I definitely think it should be legal.
You didn't
know?
kick the bong out of our faces when we
Yeah.
were smoking it before the podcast.
Yeah, I typically don't hang out in rooms where there's a lot of smoke. This is a fairly open room, and there wasn't a ton of smoke, so it didn't really bother me. But I am definitely careful to not get a contact buzz, you know?
Right. I'm sorry if we were smoking that before the episode.
I mean,
My bad.
it wasn't smoky in here. which is why I said it's not a big deal. Like if one person takes a hit every now and then, still it's not going to fill this room up enough to where it's going to affect me if I breathe it in.
Right.
Other people's getting high doesn't get me high. Other people's drinking doesn't get me drunk. I don't give a fuck what other people do. You know what I mean? As long as you're not hurting somebody else, why would I give a fuck? Yeah. I just don't. I don't.
That's how everyone's mentality should be.
It should be.
It really should. Like, it's not hurting me. Why the fuck would I care?
I can almost always tell. You know what I mean? If somebody's got one side of their head shaved, they're going to fucking bitch about something.
They're triggered.
They will get fucking triggered.
Dude, she has the whole back of her head shaved, and I was like, when I first
What do you
met
think
her, I
about
was
that,
like,
Jay?
hold on, I was like, oh no, she's gonna get triggered and upset about things. The very first, can I tell the joke?
I mean, she's wearing a fucking
okay?
Cannibal Corpse shirt, for Christ's sake.
I gave her the Cannibal Corpse shirt, but
I like how you pointed that out. Like, she's not as
she
cool
does
as
love
you.
it. No,
she's not as
she
cool
loves
as you
it.
think
Look,
she
we
is.
like
Jay.
Slayer too, but you don't got to be a dick about it.
long inside joke. But I was like, oh no, she's gonna get upset about things. And then the first time we hung out, she's like scrolling through Reddit when we got back to my house, and she was like, and I was like, what? And she was like, it's really fucked up. I don't know if you want to see it. And I'm just thinking like, whatever, back of your head shaved looking girl, like it can't be that offensive.
The back is not as bad as the side.
She was like, okay, I'll show you, but I hope that you're not offended by anything. And she shows me this, and the caption, the meme was, and the funny things are funny. Please don't get upset with me. I didn't make this joke.
Spill it.
But it said how gay people propose to each other, and it was a picture of somebody down on their knees opening up a ring thing, and then inside the ring it just said AIDS.
Oh my god!
I was like, holy fucking shit! I was doubled over, just like fucking making dolphin noises, crying. I was like, God damn, I'm gonna make this woman my girlfriend.
No, the back of the head shaved is not that bad. It's the side, the Skrillex.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Just one side.
Like, or if it's
I'm just saying, don't judge a book by its shaved-headed cover.
or like the pixie cut that's like at an angle. You know what I mean? Like the white suburban mom haircut.
No, I understand.
Like,
they asked for the manager haircut.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Fuck.
Oh, fuck there.
How much more time you got?
Yeah.
I got about 9 minutes.
9
got
minutes.
9 minutes?
10 minutes maybe. 11.
All right, what should we get to? What's the last
Man
bit of
to
this?
man segment.
Just fuck that.
No more man
We
to
don't
man.
do that anymore.
No more of
What
that.
was that?
Man, well, you
was-
added you
It was
experienced it, right?
bad.
He probably
I don't
doesn't
remember.
Well,
He
we
doesn't-
always ask like ridiculous "would you rather" questions,
Oh,
and
right
we would
on.
just kind of get
We don't do this
just
anymore.
ridiculous. Yeah, we don't do it anymore.
I had one more thing that I wanted to get to, but I don't remember what it was. I was trying to keep it in the back of my head the whole
Would you
time.
shove a whole stick of butter up your ass?
Shut the fuck up,
If it's
Patrick.
Irish
How
butter.
dare you?
Unsalted.
It's got to be Irish butter, man. Have you guys ever had Irish butter? It's the
I
best
saw
shit
it at
in the world.
Kroger's, and I was like, man, they're just ripping people off. They're like,
Nah, dude,
pour
it's,
butter.
It's got a higher protein content.
high whiskey content.
Really?
Yeah.
It's good.
Is it like grass-fed butter?
It is.
Really?
check
It is
that out.
exactly that.
I'll check that out.
I'll fuck with it. I like to, whenever I make a nice steak.
I can't drink Bushmills anymore. I might as well have some Irish butter, you know?
Dude, I made eggs with 2 tablespoons of bacon grease and butter mixed together yesterday.
Fucking egg.
So trust me, I understand. But this is what I wanted to mention. You're getting skinny as fuck. This happened
I would say in the past,
last
like, couple
week's
months.
episode. Mansfield even brought it up. I don't even know if you know him, Anthony Tank Mansfield. He was like, because we were going through old episodes and we got to your episode to recap it. Like, that was a great episode. And he was like, yeah, that dude's getting fucking skinny as shit. How does it feel to come into a room now and everybody's like, damn, you're looking good. You get to post these.
I
like,
think everybody's
quality
afraid I
Instagram
have
pics.
cancer or AIDS or something.
I don't like your cancer and AIDS joke, Jay.
I mean,
think
it's not
that's low hanging
offensive.
fruit.
People rarely say it in like a way like they're proud of me. It's usually like, hey man, you're losing weight. Like, you all right? You using
good?
You using
Back
is that
on the
what it is?
cocaine?
Yeah. Shooting coke again? I was a fat drug addict though.
Yeah.
Were you really? How
I
does that
was.
happen? How do you become
My
a fat-
body just accepted it readily. The first time that I shot heroin, I smashed like 8 tacos from Taco Bell.
So you did
And I did not
heroin,
get sick.
You didn't nod off and you didn't fucking like.
I mean, I
throw
nodded
up?
off a ton, but I rarely threw up unless it was an overdose. If I overdosed, I would puke.
How many times do you
Jesus.
overdose?
Ah, fuck, I don't know. 30, 40.
I've had alcohol poisoning probably a couple times.
I've had that a couple times too.
Don't in the background be like a couple.
A
like,
couple
all
since he's
judgmental
met
and
Ali.
shit.
Years before, years and years and years.
I passed out into a bonfire with alcohol poisoning once, dude. I was wearing the San Jose Sharks like puffy starter coat in like 1995.
Instant flames.
You just went,
Dude, oh my God. I wake up in my buddy Dale's basement, which is not where I was. It's not even the same property I was on. And my back just hurts like a motherfucker, and it's freezing cold. And like, I got my coat on, you know what I mean? I can see the sleeves. I'm like, why am I so cold? And I move my arms like this, and I feel like it's split in the back. So I take it off and look at it. The whole back is just burned the fuck off of it.
You get burned?
Yeah, I got a little bit. Not anything that really hurt me. They pulled me out of it pretty quick. But
they left you in the fucking jacket.
I had all this blood that I had puked all over myself. Yeah, it was bad.
Blood?
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
You puked blood all over
Yeah,
yourself.
it was fucking black. Oh, it was terrible.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Fucking Christ.
I was like 15 or 16 maybe.
That's pretty heavy metal, dude.
Tequila and fruit cocktail soaked in Everclear. That's what got me.
Jesus Christ.
Jay, are you married?
I will be.
No, I'm just curious. Well, you're not married, so maybe I can't ask you this question, but I'm just curious. Like, once you get married, does the
I've been married.
Okay. So, as a person that's been married, as soon as you get married, does the blowjob factory just start laying off workers and close down for business all day?
What kind of question is that? We're talking about weight
I mean,
loss.
no, I mean, I
talking about blowjobs.
I feel like I still gave a bunch of blowjobs even after I was married.
Well, that was for heroin, though, but I mean for pleasure.
But no, as far as the weight loss stuff goes, man, I've been heavy my whole life, you know, and I've just been a fat, miserable fuck.
But when you get fatter, when you walk into a room as you're getting fatter, no one's ever like, damn, you're a fat fuck today,
No,
Jay.
my friends are
God
comics,
damn.
dude. My friends
Them
are comics.
titties
I
look huge.
absolutely hear that shit. And I absolutely say that shit to other comics.
And then when you get skinny, you don't even get the nice, like, fucking, oh, you're looking good. You get the, like, you got AIDS?
You dying?
You got AIDS?
You relapse? Yeah, that's what.
Relapse?
But no, I found an awesome gym called Dixie Fitness Club in Highland Heights, dude, and it's a fucking dungeon. It's in the basement of a bowling alley by NKU.
That's kind of cool.
It's so old school they don't even have electronic payment at all. You have to pay either cash or check. You just
that's awesome.
put your money in an envelope and stick it in a box.
So you
like,
went
a lot of
from-
whole system.
A lot of people there?
So hold on.
Not
you
when
wait,
I go. I go late at night. It's 24 hours, just like Planet Fitness. Only all their shit is either like 70s style Nautilus equipment or free weights.
Gotcha.
Mainly Olympic steel throughout the whole place.
Are you also changing your diet a lot, too?
Oh, fuck yeah.
What have you changed about your diet? Because the diet is most important thing about
I do
losing
kind
weight,
of,
obviously.
Yeah, you know, it's like they
70%
say,
of
abs are made in the kitchen, not in the gym. But I do kind of like a half-assed keto. Like with the ketogenic diet, like you're supposed to get a certain amount of fat, and I don't get as much fat as I'm supposed to get for that. I get more protein than they want. I try to take in a gram of protein for every pound that I weigh every single day, which right now is 220 grams of protein, which is a significant amount of protein. But protein bars and shakes and stuff help with that.
You just snack all day? Is that your thing instead of
I
like
eat
actual
probably,
meals?
On days that I'm following it real good, I'll eat probably 12 times. But like a spoonful of peanut butter and a 8-ounce glass of milk is a meal.
So wait, you're at 220 right now and you're looking trim?
Yes.
I'm at 215 right now and feeling fat. Like, fuck.
Well, I feel like my muscle mass and your muscle mass are probably different.
Probably.
That's a big part of why I'm heavy now.
All my muscle is in my legs and my hips and like my
Your diet is
torso.
hot fucking garbage, though.
Yeah,
But I'm
very
just
true.
like-
you should have diarrhea daily.
You do yourself
I know I got
zero
a lot of-
favors.
I know I got a lot of muscle though. I'm a
But
strong person.
muscle is it's more dense than fat, so it's by volume it's heavier.
True.
But yeah, I was 260 7 months ago.
Wait, so when you came on this podcast, probably like 6 months ago. You were 260,
About
270.
40
yeah.
pounds.
It was
since then,
longer
dude.
than 6 months ago because the headshot I was on this podcast a couple months before I got my latest round of headshots, and those were what I was like, you're a fat fuck.
Did all the shaming help
Time to
you? Like
change.
talking shit to yourself in the
Yeah,
mirror?
for
Like,
sure.
You fat fucking piece of
And
shit.
That's like your main motivation.
I've been negatively motivated. Like it works for me my whole life. Like when I was learning how to do construction shit, like do flooring and plumbing, the dude that I was working for would scream and yell at me, and it helped. It worked for me. It doesn't work for everybody. I get that, but I responded well to it.
And you went from like buying heroin in a bowling alley to working
I know.
underneath
Wow,
a
Cody.
What kind of
bowling alley.
hillbilly do you think I am? I never bought.
fuck?
You buy Oxycontin in a bowling alley. You don't buy heroin in a bowling alley.
You fucking Neanderthal.
I was trying to get that
I mean, I
joke
used-
out
I
earlier
used
and
to-
I couldn't.
You
and
just
I
had
felt
to
like-
squeeze it out.
I just had to shoehorn it in.
I used to
I'm
cop
sorry,
dope
you
right
guys.
up the street here, like literally right around this corner. This, I guess it's a Shell now. It used to be a BP. I used to shoot dope in that bathroom all the fucking time. I've fallen out in that bathroom more than once.
Wow, there's some history there. I
There
go
is.
all the time.
It
Now I know.
it used to
Hey,
be
I know what happened here. Whenever I go get shot.
real big and marker on the wall in the bathroom. It used to say Coltrane on Coleraine in that bathroom, and that's just people. Me and my dude Scott that would always come down this way, be like, Coltrane on Coleraine. You damn right. You know, what I mean? we going back to the house, or we doing Coltrane on Coleraine? Fucking back to the house. That's 15 minutes. I'm sick now. You know what I mean?
Right.
Also, if you go to the Frisch's at 4th and Philly in Covington, I died in that bathroom, like all the way.
What happened?
Heart stopped.
He's got to get out of here. But
Yeah,
tell
one
this
last
story.
story. One last story before we go.
So before I got sober, when I violated my probation in 01, I want to say 02 maybe. I guess it had to be 01, early 01. I violated with a suicide attempt. I took a bunch of Elavil, a bunch of Librium, a bunch of Klonopin, and then I did a bunch of heroin because I knew mixing those together would take me out.
And you survived.
I unfortunately I
killed
did.
him.
I was mad as fuck when I woke up in the hospital. So from the time that I went out to the time that I came to, they had found me, gotten me to the hospital, found out who my next of kin was, notified my mom at work. She made it. She was in the room with her coat off and shit before I came to. I was out for like an hour. I had the fucking shit down my throat, up my nose. I immediately start ripping all that shit out. And they're like, you can't do that. I was like, I'm not staying here. And the cop came in and he was like, you're fucking staying here. And I was like, oh, I guess I'm staying here. And he told me, he's like, if you just do what these doctors tell you, like, I won't take you to jail today for paraphernalia. I'll just write a criminal complaint and you'll get a court date. And I was like, all right, bet. So they were like, if you can stay awake for 15 minutes, you can leave. All right.
You're over there. Like,
Bet.
And I fucking stayed up for 15 minutes, and I don't remember any of the rest of the evening. But like 2 days later, I had a kind of another psychotic break, and it took a whole bunch of cops to get me out of my house. And then the day after that, my probation officer came and violated my shit. I didn't see the street for 2 years.
Damn, man.
That's fucking wild.
You've lived a crazy life,
But that
and
all
you have so many good fucking stories.
It all started at the Frisch's at 4th and Philly. So if you're ever in there, like, oh, Jay
Some
Armstrong
history.
died here.
Yeah.
Dude, you've lived such an interesting life, and I'm glad that you're alive to tell these
Tiring.
stories.
I feel old as fuck, dude.
I'm glad you came on the show today.
Almost
Thanks for
14
coming
years
on.
of sobriety. That's I told you last time. I'll tell you again. That's fucking impressive, man.
It
That's
is,
so. What
yeah.
was it? October of 2005.
November 8th, 2005.
I knew I was somewhere around the
You're
ballpark.
close. The last time I drank alcohol was Halloween of 2005, and
Maybe that's why I was thinking October.
that was funny. I knew that was going bad the night that it happened. So they had this machine that like measured shots, like you screw bottles into it upside down, and then you just pull this little lever, and it gives you like
Like
a
a
2-ounce
Jägermeister
measured
thing or
shot.
something.
Yeah. So I'm just the dude's like, have as much as you want, and so I went and grabbed a fucking red Dixie cup. You know what I mean? And I'm filling that motherfucker up.
Yeah.
You know, like you're bad. Like you fucked up, telling
Yeah.
me I could have as much of this as I want, and I fucking
I'm gonna take the
blacked
whole
out.
bottle right now, son.
Made a complete ass out of myself, pissed my pants in my sleep. It was good times.
You know, as someone that has dealt with people in their lives and family that's with addiction, I got to say
Same.
that really is fucking impressive
Yeah.
being sober that long and being around all this. Like when we're drinking, whatnot, you just cool with it. Seriously, take some balls. Thanks for coming on, man. Seriously, it was fucking awesome.
Dude, thanks for having me. It is
Absolutely.
it's been fun every time.
Listeners out there, please go out there and add all of Jay Armstrong's fucking accounts, all 12 of them, for
Just
when he
follow the
inevitably
fan-
gets
just
banned.
like the fan page. That's the one that I'm trying to get stuff on. You can subscribe to my YouTube account. On Twitter, I'm NPC Marvin Lewis. Are you guys familiar with the NPC memes?
No?
No,
Non-player
non-playable character.
Yeah, it's they're good. You should check them out. I think you'll like them. It's Orange Man Bad. But yeah, fucking Marvin Lewis got fired between the last time I was here and this time, so I
Thank
feel like I
God.
should celebrate that. I fucking hate that motherfucker.
Everyone does that's a Bengals fan.
Being a Bengals fan is difficult. Anyway, I'm not.
I wish we had another fucking hour with you, dude.
I'm
Like,
trying to think of other on Instagram. I'm at JArm Comedy. I got a website in development, jarmstrong.wtf, which .wtf is a legit web extension now.
That's a new one. I never
awesome.
heard that.
I just gotta say, man, I'm a legit fan. I've watched all the videos on your YouTube page. I've like talking to you over the years through
I'll send
Facebook.
you the new one. I got one it's like private. You have to have the link for it, so don't share it. But I'll send that to you. It's like a half hour.
Thank you. I'd love
Like
to
a
see that,
legit-
man.
a
I've seen you
legit
3
half hour.
times live.
Fuck
Every
yeah.
time it's been a phenomenal experience. If you guys ever see that he's out there, please go check him out. Like, please. He's fucking a great comedian. If tonight's episode didn't prove it to you, go out and see it.
I feel like we had some fun.
phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
100%.
I don't feel like it was brilliant comedy, but we had fun.
Yeah, that's all it's about, dude.
All listeners from the Facebook chat, he's posting on there all the time on
Yeah,
the Facebook
join
group.
that shit.
Go fucking follow
I
his
comment more than
fan
I
page.
post.
Well, at least go check out his
Yeah,
fan
I'll
page.
share the fan page in there.
Oh, we'll plug it, man.
It's those numbers actually matter.
Oh,
like-
we're understanding that more and more.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming on, man.
And
Thanks for
also,
having me, guys.
right before we leave, I
Anytime.
also want to shout out to Neil to No One. Neil to No One, our sponsor. He's an incredible artist, makes incredible glassware. We have sick merch. Go check that shit out. Go check him out.
KNEELTONOONE.com. I got it right that time.
No, you did. You fucked it up the first time. You
I got
moron.
it right that time.
This is why I read it. Listen
What
how
the
smooth.
fuck ever.
I'm drunk right now. Listen how smooth.
Just
Go
search-
visit KNEELTONOONE.com to check out all. If you need commission-based art, you can get that shit from Anthony Tank Mansfield. He's got these awesome Hop Thulu glasses. It's got Neil to No One on one side. If you go to the other side, he's got Cthulhu with a hop beard, like from the beer. It's perfect. He's got these sifter glasses that Pat's holding
With the
up.
samurai on
that
'em?
Jay's drinking water out of. You could drink water out of them if you're a pussy, or if you're in recovery. If you're in recovery,
You
I'm
can
just
even
kidding,
pretend to be
making jokes.
fancy like it's Chianti.
It's just water.
Some fava beans and a nice Chianti. But he's got these fucking dope ass samurai graphics on them, and then a little samurai sword on both sides. Neil to No One font in the middle. It's a 16-ounce glass.
cozies, too.
I'm wearing the Hop Thulu T-shirt right now. I don't know if you can see it on the
Stand up
video
straight.
right now.
Stand up
But
straight.
Say it
it's,
with your
it's the
chest.
same graphic that you see on the glasses and Neil to No One. He's got these. He's got the beer koozies that Pat's holding up right now to the camera. He's got another dope-ass fucking T-shirt, and it's in the shape of Ohio. It's the Neil to No One shirt. He's got a motor hop. It's the fucking Motorhead logo with instead of the dog, it's got a hop on it. It's fantastic. He's got all kinds of great merch. Go and check him out immediately. Neil to No One.
And be sure to check out the Bastard Network. All our shows. We got Elliot from Boston for sports. We got Between the Covers for romance. We got the Shit Talking Cunts, of course. Yeah, man. Follow the Bastard Network page.
Have we done enough plugs yet? Can we turn this fucking thing off?
It's about time, I'd
Thanks
say.
again
Come to
coming
the
on,
Liberty
man.
Funny Bone for the open mic February 7th.
Check
Do
that
it.
shit out.
Do it.
Luke, if you don't go up there and try out comedy, you're a bitch forever. All right, I'm turning this.
Yeah,
I
don't
thought
be
that
a
was
little
established.
pussy.
I will tell those people not to listen to your podcast. If you don't-
Oh, you have to go.
You have to now, dude.
Don't be a
Fucking
bitch.
have to, pussy. Get up there with your jokes. All right.
If you fuck this up,
All right.
Luke.
Thanks for joining us, Jay. Peace out, everybody.
All right.